If I start telling people about hell, I might just scare them off. Where are you going to scare them off to? Hell number 2? Or are you just going to sit there and let them burn?
People are going to be like, how are you guys going to put a director of a blockbuster film and tie him in with the secret societies and all these wars? And how are you going to do that? He's not even the one that directed the new movie. How are you going to tie that in? But in Theodore's documentary, he named a few people that was heavily tied to George Lucas. It's just like how, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. It's a famous director that died of cancer. He was connected to a Rockefeller, and he told him all the secrets that they were going to do. Go again?
Aaron Russo.
Aaron Russo. That's what it is. Yeah. Yes. So we know that the CIA controls Hollywood, and the Kabbalah, the Kabbalist Jews. We're not talking about the regular Jews here, people. We're talking about the Kabbalists that controls a lot of things going on in Hollywood and in politics. And these people worship basically the snake gods. And that's another rabbit hole, but I'm putting that out there so that Theodore can come back and give the connection to Hollywood and some of the occultists and the elites. Go ahead, Theodore.
Yeah, and the Star Wars The Last Jedi documentary that we're talking about, it's George Lucas, this girl called Barbara Wakeland, I believe. I know her first name is Barbara, but I believe the last name is Wakeland. She was a geneticist, okay? And she was a hardcore feminist, big-time feminist, okay? And she essentially hooked up George Lucas with this man, John Campbell. And to go back to Barbara, she basically is one of those people, listen, if I have to choose between my microscope or God, I'll choose my microscope, okay? So these people are hardcore atheists. She hooked up George Lucas with a man called John Campbell, who was really the one. I mean, there was a Lister Crowley, and there's a history to this. You guys can all look this up. But John Campbell was very influential in George Lucas's life, and he was all about, all these different fables can lead us to God, and was all about space and the cosmos and traveling through space and creating stories to get us closer to God. And George Lucas fell in love with it. He loved the guy. And so George Lucas took his ideas, his concepts on how to create stories and laced them in with this concept of Star Wars. And going into all of that, you guys are actually the ones that told me about the Star Wars schools where the kids learn how to become Jedis or something like that. They
the church,
Jedi.
The church, the Jedi church, yeah.
Jedi church in England.
Yeah, well, I looked it up. They actually have real life Star Wars Jedi training schools. They wear costumes and they
wow.
Wave their little lightsabers around or something like that. It's hilarious. So
yeah,
but
it's a religion. It's a religion.
Oh yeah, big time. And so anyway, what they do is John Campbell said that he takes the Judeo-Christian Bible and he picks out themes from the Bible, and they use that and twist it. That's what Satan does. He'll use the Bible and twist it for his own gains, for his own means. And so that's essentially what these guys do. Satan knows that the Cannes Festival and the independent film circuit that people are all gung-ho about, and that it's all a sham. It's such a sham. They did it with Quentin Tarantino. He was some dude at a video store, and some director who's a big shot gave him a little bit of money to see what he could do, to see if he'll sell his soul out. And he created, I believe it was was it Reservoir Dogs, his first movie?
I believe so.
It was totally violent, and they were like, "Oh, he'll sell his soul to the devil. Fantastic! I'll give you, what's your next film? Pulp Fiction, And so what they'll do at these Cannes festivals is they will, whoever can create the nastiest, filthiest propaganda. They'll take, like Hollywood moguls, they'll take money and they'll siphon them off to these little shell companies that say, oh, we're all about independent films and artists. And then they'll give the money, they'll put on a award show and actually give off money through tax dollars to other people who create the crappiest filth. And whoever wins at those little circuits, they will have the opportunity to then make bigger movies. And so it's all a shell game. And there's a new movie called Raw that came out about it. Some girl who was a cannibal, And it's like bloodletting, death cult propaganda. And, that person's probably going to end up being like a new Eli Roth, creating movies like The Hills Have Eyes or something. Who knows? It's going to be interesting to watch. So that's what they do. And George Lucas is all a part of that. Star Wars, all of these people started out at the low end to see what they could do because they had a talent for storytelling. They had a talent for videography. And I know this because I dealt with it at my university. If you can do stories, they will give you an opportunity to do something more. If you can do more and sell your soul out and become a weakling, and, put out crappy propaganda, then you can go to the next step and the next step and the next step. That's what Satan does. It's the same thing with the Freemasonic Lodge. You want to go through the first degree? You want to be a good little, useful idiot is what they call them? Okay, go to the second degree.
Initiate.
Yeah, and they will initiate you to different degrees. It's the same thing in the business world. If you can sell out, great, you go to the top. Anyway, I think,
true.
Did I answer your question? Sorry.
Yeah. You pretty much laid it out. But it's so much. We could do like 2-3 shows on just that issue alone, just to unravel it all because there's so many threads to it. But as we're stating here, people, that most of these movies are propaganda. There's always a message, whether it's good or bad, in every movie. That's pretty much obvious. But when it comes down to the esoteric teachings from these old trains of thought, whether it's Gnostic or Kabbalist, or you can go all over the place with this stuff. These things are threaded throughout a lot of your popular movies and some of your unpopular movies too. But you got to wonder, why is it so popular? Are these people just don't come up with this stuff. They have to have some school of thought to go and dig out the explicit knowledge that they're putting out in these films like Hellboy, V for Vendetta, some of the comic book writers, and we'll probably play another clip of that tonight too. They put in these stories that are taken out of antiquity and putting it in front of your face. And the thing is that you guys become fans. And there's even a guy that I'm not even going to call his name, but he says that Star Wars is his way of life. Star Wars is his religion. And he says it many different times. It's a movie talk show host. And he's serious about it. Disney bought out Lucasfilm and Marvel, okay? And we already know that Disney is full of a lot of satanic stuff. And if you don't know that, do your research. We talked about feminism earlier and how it basically started in the Garden of Eden. Whether you agree with that or not, that's not my issue. But it did. And now, as you see, a lot of the stars or the heroes of these movies are now females, stronger than the men, kicking butt. The men
or homosexuals.
Or both. Bisexual right. And all that too. But they are now the leaders, if you didn't notice. And Disney is a big propagation of this idea. In fact, even Warner Brothers, if you go back to the Batman versus Superman DVD bonus, you'll see that the men were pushing feminism more than the women were because of the Wonder Woman movie that's coming out, which we'll get into that in a second. But let's backtrack a little bit. Disney, feminism is what's being pushed. That's why Rey is so prominent. That's why in Rogue One, that's why they had the prominent female character. And I'm not even saying that there's necessarily anything wrong with that. But my point is, it's an agenda. Go ahead, Theodore.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. It's absolutely an agenda. And again, people will think that we're trying to bash on women because that's their popular meme, right? That's their popular go-to phrase. It's not that at all. Okay, it's not that at all. Please, clean out your ears. Just read the Bible and understand that you need to put on a different face. Don't put on a lustful face to when you're discerning this information. Take it with a gentle heart, knowing that Jesus Christ is Lord and that we're just trying to speak the truth to you and that we love you.
If you like our videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get all our frequent updates.